Hey, coaches, this is Corbin Smith with More Than the Scoreboard. I wanted to let you guys know I just founded MTTS Sports Group. We all know outside perspective does matter when it comes to team leadership and staff development. And that's exactly what we do through leadership speaking, leadership training, and staff development seminars. Go visit mttsportsgroup.com and let us know how we can help. Enjoy the podcast. From the starts, um, I'll just reintroduce you. Grant Sanders, head football coach at North High School. Congratulations on the new job. To everybody out there, I know you work for the Phoenix Fire Department. Give us a little bit of background about your coaching and where you've been and how you came about to get the head job, because that's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started coaching at Arcadia High School, where I happened to play football when I was in high school. Played baseball, ran track there as well. Um, Once I had my own family, I got into starting to coach at the youth level. Pop Warner coached my son, David, my oldest son, from third grade all the way to high school. And when he was in seventh grade, I went over to Arcadia High School because we had a feeder program for the high school, and went over and talked to head coach Kerry Taylor at the time. He was a varsity head coach, and I asked him, "Hey, I want to help out on defense. I'm a defensive guy. Defense is my forte. Let me jump in." He goes, "Better yet, I want you to be the JV head coach."
Perfect.
So I was like, "Hey, this is perfect." So I jumped in with amazing coaches, learned a lot from everybody on that staff. They ended up leaving. I stayed. New staff had trickled in. I ended up becoming the varsity assistant head coach with Ray Brown. Stayed the defensive coordinator and special teams guy. And then David reached that high school level. He played his first year at Arcadia. Then my kids got baptized. And then that was a door that opened for faith based education. So we left the public school system. Nothing wrong with it. We just left it for faith based education. My youngest went to St. Teresa, and then my oldest went to St. Mary's. I jumped ship and went and coached at St. Mary's as well. One of the coaches, Chris Uribe at Arcadia with me. He's alumni of St. Mary's, went there before we transferred, and then I took off there. In the midst of things, I had a couple high schools reach out to me to be the next head coach. But I really took a liking and keen heart to North High, where I just accepted the position to be the head coach there.
You said you were just kind of attracted to it. It just felt right. What type of things just drew you to that particular, position opening with that school?
So what drew me was the administration, number one, their care for the kids there, right? North is in the middle of the city, in the heart of the city. You got a lot of things surrounding it. The community is completely all bought in right now. It's amazing. The location, number one, I live in Arcadia. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away as well. Funny story though, the principal, Amy Johnston, I grew up with. I went through
Really?
kindergarten through high school with. She graduated from Arcadia as well. So and I know her passion for education and these students. They're like her own babies. And I'm so blessed to be a part of such an amazing staff over there that really cares about the kids.
Well, I'll give you a little piece of advice for the future. And I think as coaches, I think we always, are itching for something that like a new challenge. I'm not saying better or worse or anything like that. But my first head job was at McClintock, like we talked about. And COVID happened, and there were some things, and I don't think my frame of mind was particularly right, and felt like I was fighting everything. But I look back at that administration, and from Maida Arroyo, who was a principal, still is, to Jermaine Whitaker, who's the athletic director, I had a pretty good thing there. And I'm glad to hear a coach really recognize how important administration is. And I've spent the last 2 or 3 episodes really diving into that, because I feel like it's been going on at the college level, and now it's kind of going on at the high school level, where administrators are business people
Right.
and forget the fact that we are there to serve. I mean, you coach because you're serving.
Right.
and just because you're a principal and you lead a school, and you're the head of the campus, you're still there to serve. So good for you and good for her, and that's pretty special. It's a rare thing, so just embrace it, and I know you will. I know you will.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that the athletic director, Mr. Contreras over there, we're both ex-military, so, right off the bat, we hit it off. We have a lot of similarities within the military, and then me being, you know, in the fire department now, uh, and him being an administrator and athletic director, there's a lot of similarities. So just my conversations with him thus far, we have a lot of common goals
Good,
that we're working towards.
good. This is super important.
Big time.
Super important. I've seen it as a kid, as a player, as a college coach, as a high school coach. I've seen it from all angles as a parent. Um, and so that's good to hear. And I think when did she become the principal over there at North?
She was the assistant principal for several years there. She just became last year, I believe.
Okay,
This year or last year.
good.
Yeah.
Good. And the other funny thing is you kind of got your start in youth football, right? And I'm going to tell you something because I've had the luxury and kind of the same thing as you, the ability to coach my kids through youth football. So when I got done playing, I went into college coaching and coached at Missouri, coached at Arkansas State for a total 8 years. When I got out of it, I had 2 young boys and then we had a third, but I was able before I got back into high school coaching, I was able to coach my boys. And I'm gonna tell you something about what I've learned by coaching youth, by coaching high school, by coaching junior college, and then college level, is that the best coaches and teachers are at the youth level because those kids don't know a whole they don't know a whole lot. So and I think you'll agree when you teach them and when you explain things, it's at the most basic level. And I think there's a lot of coaches that don't understand that you always have to coach the basics. You have to talk to the kids as if they don't know in order
Right.
for them to learn. I don't care what level you're at. So I hope you use that and not let that get lost in being a high school head coach now. Just hey, it's still there.
Yeah.
You got a lot of high school coaches that were youth coaches at one point and have lost their way as far as teaching and really explaining. So, do you
Well, I'm glad
think
I got a seventh grader still too that I coach. So, I still dial it down a little bit.
do you think that running an organization, that youth league and that kind of fed into Arcadia, um, do you think that has helped you prepare to be a high school head coach?
100%. You learn a lot of you go through a lot of trial and tribulations at the youth level. Kids that you know don't know X's and O's, kids that are not very athletic, and building them to something where they can contribute to the team all the time. It's taking a seed and watering it and growing it. Really is what it is at the youth level, and to teach the fundamentals, the running technique, the catching technique. It's not about the X's and O's. I mean, you have sixth graders that don't know how to strap on their shoulder pads or chin strap yet, coming out for the first time. So it has helped me tremendously to correlate youth football with high school football because again, you have freshmen and sophomores and juniors that are coming out for the first time.
Right.
Their buddies are playing it. Their buddies have finally talked them into coming out. So at that level, at the high school level, you kind of correlate it to the youth level. Some of these guys, it's their first time strapping up. So you have to teach the fundamentals and the basics. And that's in your indie drills every single day, repetition, repetition. That's in your walkthroughs. That's in your 7-on-7s, so on and so forth. So they mirror each other a lot, youth and high school, because you have a mix of veterans and first time players.
It's development, right? It's everybody says athlete development, but it's really the person. You can develop the person through, our canoe is just football. That's how we get down the river. Um, So how do you take the development aspect, the mindset of really, developing each individual kid, in order to create a culture at North, that is sustainable? Because and I'm drawn from my own experience at McClintock when I got there, it was good and bad because there was no foundation. The kids were good kids. They were hungry and yearning just for discipline and for people to even get on them about something and hold them accountable because to them it meant that they cared.
Right.
And it took us a couple years to really build that culture. Our wins and loss were up and down. We did, out of the 5 years I was there, we I think we were 24 and 24 in 5 years or something like that, which is better, way better than they had been. But we were developing a culture that could sustain itself and produce the wins. Because I'm a firm believer that you can't go in and try to win. You have to go in and build a culture, and the byproduct of the culture is wins,
Right.
right? And championships and all that kind of other stuff. So, how do you take that development perspective and really ingrain it in the culture that you want to build at North High School?
Honesty, communication, transparency, and staff. That those are the biggest hitters that come to mind when you ask that question, and open with these kids. A lot of times, and I've seen it in the past from not just the schools that I've coached, but other coaches playing against other teams. You have to be honest and transparent with these kids. You have to get them to buy in, and that helps with the staff, the administration, the the dedication that comes from the staff to these kids to buy in. And then what is our team goal? It's not necessarily a coach goal or a staff goal, it's a team goal. What are we driving towards? Yes, obviously it's wins, but what else after football? Football doesn't last forever, right? And I'm around it 24/7 like you have been. I'm on the Fiesta Bowl committee. I coach it. I literally live, eat, and breathe football, but that's who I am. If I can give a quarterback to what the coaches gave me to them in being a good father, being a good husband, being a good brother, being a good contributor to society. It's the big picture that football is our driving force to that big picture. And it starts from day one. When I go on campus and I have that team meeting with the team and the parents and the staff, and all the stakeholders involved. I want the community at these meetings. I want 7th Street closed down and 16th Street closed down from McDowell to Camelback, and I want all those businesses at our games on Friday night because we're going to go back out from the community and support them. So it's a whole family foundation versus just a football foundation. And I want that in the community for North because they're thriving for it. They are so, like you mentioned earlier, hungry for it. They can taste it. The day I was announced as the head coach, I had 15 to 20 players reach out to me from North, how excited they were that I'm coming. Who's their new positional coach? I had an O lineman reach out. I need the best O line coach. Please bring the best O line coach with you. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
Hungry,
awesome.
right? They're chomping at the bit, no pun intended, as a Mustang. They're chomping at the bit to get out on that field and run somebody over. So I think it's there mindset wise. We just have to put it in place as a staff, as coaches, and as a community. Because when you have the community's backing, and I've seen it, obviously coming from Arcadia, you have the community backing, you make a run for anything you want. There's only air and opportunity between you and the finish line. And they have the number of students there. I walked on campus one time and I'm looking at a kid and I go, "Do you play football?" He's like, "No, no one's ever asked me to." I'm like, "You're playing next." I go, "What year?" He goes, "I'm a sophomore." I said, "You're playing next year." Um, it's already starting. I get messages every day from players, and I haven't been on campus yet.
You talk about community, and I always thought that that was a big thing. And some places obviously are more difficult than others, but I know McClintock, it was socioeconomically, it had dropped a little bit, and I know 90% of our kids came from either single parent or no parent households. 75% of them worked. Um, so how do you get the community? And we did a lot of different things, and I felt like we grew the community. We had a Kiefer night all 5 years. brought people back. We did a lot of different things because I thought it was super important, and especially with the history of McClintock, much like North, right? And you have a lot of people that want to be involved. So, what are a couple things that you're wanting to do to really, um, pull the community in and get their support and have them involved within the football program and the school?
Community involvement, number one, events, knocking on front doors. Hi, my name's so and so. I'm with the North High School football team. I just wanted to introduce myself. You live across the street. Love to have you at a game. I mean, those are the simple things, right? Going to the restaurants, supporting the restaurants in the community, and not only the external community, but the internal community. If you're on the football team and you're not playing another sport, we're going to go support that other sport within that school. I want other sports supporting other sports. That's how you grow internally. And then externally, it's just introducing yourself. I'm playing Friday nights, or I'm playing Wednesday nights, or I'm playing Thursday nights. I'd love for you to come out and enjoy a neighborhood game. Come out here. This is who I am. This is the jersey number I'm wearing. I hope to earn your support.
That's
Those
good.
types of those types of small things.
Yeah.
And then community involvement. There's a lot of things I have to learn through the Phoenix Union District, but I have so many ideas that are spinning through my head with community involvement. I mean, mowing lawns, taking up trash in the neighborhood, sweeping the sidewalks in the halls of the school campus. There's so many different things that we can do to get that community like this.
And I think for the young people that you come in contact with, whether they're players or students, um, we talk about setting standards as coaches, just like being a dad, right? And it's funny you say honesty, transparency, communication. I mean, I know as a dad, I treated and I treated the boys that played for me and the young women like my own kids,
Right.
because I felt like it was just ingrained in me, so with that said, what are some standards that you're gonna set, put up there and set forth, um, in regards to what you expect the kids to live by from a standard standpoint?
So accountability number one. Every single person has to do their 111 on the field. They have to do their 111 off the field. They're a student athlete first, and that word student really hits hard to me because, like I stated earlier, football doesn't last forever. What are you going to do to prepare for after football? And that's grades. Number one, accountability, showing up on time, being transparent, communication, and learning, not getting by, getting better every single day. Um, those are standards that all transpire around faith. And what do you have faith in? Whether it's the Lord or something else, everybody has faith in something. What is your faith going to drive you to later on in life? And what is it going to drive you to right now? And if I can instill compassion, faith, accountability, any of those in these kids on a daily basis, that's what I expect from them. And I don't just want to hold them accountable, I want them to hold us accountable. And in that transparency, if a coach is messing up or I'm messing up or administration is messing up or we've done something that we're not seeing in our blinders, they can come to us and hold us accountable too, because that's how a communication relationship works, right? If I'm running a play that's not working and a player comes up to me and says, coach, this is not working, what am I doing that's wrong or that I'm not seeing? So hold us accountable. I'll hold you accountable. We'll become the Mustang family, and we're running with the herd 24/7.
Good. You talk about faith, and I too, kind of like your son, I have a high school faith-based education. I went to Loyola High School, which is an all-boys Jesuit school in Los Angeles. Um, Greatest experience of my life. I'm not Catholic, but it was the greatest experience of my life, truly. The men that I was able to be around on a daily basis, the teachers, the priests, the administration, the coaches, the student body was just, I learned so much. And I think I faltered as a coach because when I look back, I wish I would have dove into that path a lot more in regards to you have to have faith and you have to have belief in something bigger than yourself. Like you said, it doesn't have to be my God. It can be just something that you believe in, that you have faith in, that's bigger than yourself. Um, so how do you be, and I think the younger generation needs that,
They do.
especially in the sport of football. How do you teach that? Because a lot of kids, if you were to say, what do you have faith in? They're going to look at you sideways, most of them, and be like, especially at a non-faith based school, right?
Right.
If
Right.
you would ask me in high school, I could have told you. But the kids I coached at the schools I was at, most of them wouldn't know what you were referring to. So how do you really instill that, to believe in something bigger than yourself and have faith that things are at work that aren't in your control, and then there are things that you can control to help you get better every day, be the best version of yourself?
So being open about communication on that faith-based aspect, number one, you can't mandate somebody to come say a prayer with you. You can't, those days are long gone, right? You can't all say, hey, got to take a knee, let's say a prayer at a public school that's non-faith based. um, but being open about it and actually asking them to come up with their faith-based goals. You need to come up with goals. What are they? Everybody has them. You're out here for a reason, but what are your goals in that space, so to speak?
Yes.
And how are you going to progress? And how do you want me to help you progress by that open communication? Because if somebody doesn't talk about it and you're not open about it and you're closed about it, it's that book is never going to be opened. Whatever book it is, if it's a science book, if it's a math book, if it's a Bible, whatever book that you want to follow and have faith in, you need to open it and you need to communicate about it first and foremost. But I think the biggest point to that question is being open about it. And what are your goals and what are your drives to have that in your life every day? Being faithful to, and it doesn't, like I said, it could be my God, your God, anybody's God, but what are you faithful to? And how do we achieve those goals?
Well, I think, and that's the thing. And again, dealing with younger people, there's this fear of saying, I don't know. And quite honestly, if you don't know, say, I don't know, because there's you, there's the other coaches, there's parents, there's people that will help them. And it's so important, because when you follow some sort of faith, right? Faith, and you believe in something bigger than you, it allows for you to no longer be driven by motivation, but be driven by dedication. Because we both know motivation is fleeting.
Yes.
Dedication is a foundation. Listen, I go to the gym 5 days a week. I, there isn't one day where I'm like, yeah, I get to go to the gym today. But I go because that's my foundation now.
Right.
You know, there's so many things, and being on this podcast, and I think you're episode 68 in a year. I wish I would have done this when I was still coaching, because I lacked so much knowledge, and I didn't think I knew everything. I was always open to growth and learning. I mean, that's part of being a coach. But I didn't know what I didn't know, and talking to people like you have brought out so much more that I could have done. And you talk about communication, and that's key. Let me go along those lines with communication. In today's day and age, um, you know, parents, well, it's always kind of been like this. How do you communicate with parents?
So that's a great question. My rule of thumb communicating with parents is a weekly newsletter coming from the football program. It's going to talk about upcoming events, the practices. It's all going to be emailed out. It's on a weekly basis. We have a parent meeting at the beginning of the season with the students and any administration or teachers that want to join, and the coaches especially. Then we have a midseason meeting after game 5 that Saturday morning on film, that film morning. We're going to have another parent teacher in the basketball gym. We have another student athlete talk about how the season's going, what they can continue to work on at home, etc. And then we're going to talk about at the end of the season what could, and it's an open form of communication. It's not the end of the season banquet. It's an end of the season meeting. And I'm bringing the parents in there as well. I'm going to talk about, and I want them to talk about what their expectations are, what my expectations are. How do we bridge those gaps? How do we bridge them with the student athletes? And then I'm going to talk about chain of command in that communication. If a player's not playing or a player, isn't seeing the field as much as they thought that they should be, and the parents are wondering about it, that player has to go to their position coach first. Then, if that isn't settled, that position coach and myself and that player have a meeting. If that isn't settled, then it becomes a parent and administration and coach meeting. So there's rules and regulations that will be followed for that parent communication, but they will get weekly communication. They will have access to email me any of their questions, comments, concerns throughout the season, but they're only going to be responded to one time a week. And that's on my day off on Sunday when I get back to everybody else on their emails. But that open line of communication is always open. I have an open door policy for every student athlete, but the parents aren't there at the practices. They're not there while they're at school. I don't know if they're seeing their report cards or progress reports or anything of that nature. So they need to help. And this is the one thing that I stress to parents. You need to be your son or daughter's biggest advocate when it comes to grades and then athletics. You have to be, because if you don't have the support from the parents, it's hard to get support from anybody. The parents are the backbone to any football program in high school and youth.
Agreed. Agreed.
100%.
100%.
They're the biggest backbone. And I want to communicate that with them because they have a voice. These are their babies that they're entrusting us with. They have a voice. They have an opportunity to be involved indirectly, 100% indirectly. And I say that not directly because they're not on the sidelines. They don't have the time to coach, et cetera, et cetera. They might not know the sport or they might not like the sport. So they have an opportunity to be involved in their child's student athlete career indirectly every single day, 100% of the time. And that communication key, when I communicate that with the parents, it's going to be difficult for some, but they need to realize the importance of it.
Yeah. How about the communication, the daily communication between athletes and you? Are these kids gonna, I mean, if they communicate, are they gonna go to their position coach first and communicate, and then you're kind of the last guy if they have questions, if they don't get them answered? I mean, what do you want that player, head coach, player, position coach relationship to look like in regards to communication?
Well, they should always go to their position coach, number one, first and foremost. If they need to bring me in, by all means. If the position coach wants to bring me in, by all means. The staff that I'm hiring is the elite of the elitist. I'd love to announce the names right now.
Yeah.
They have to go through
We'll
all their
see.
stuff and everything else. But I have coaches coming from that are Super Bowl champs to D1 college past athletics that have played it and coached it, have been a GA or anything of that nature at the elite level, all the way down. So they're going to have. I, I I think the biggest buy-in. It's the same thing I did at Arcadia when I hired a Brian Schofield, Brian Terrain, Will Davis, Phil Bates, Ray Brown, all those guys that are NFL alum, right? Those kids bought in from day one as soon as they stepped on campus. This is my position coach. Are you kidding me? When you have that and you have that mindset as a student athlete, they don't need to come to me. They can go directly to the source. The knowledge is there, the explanation is there, the dedication is there. So I'm open to 100% communication. I don't ever think it'll need to reach me because of the staff that's coming. So, with that said, these guys that I'm putting these children in front of are going to absorb this like sponges. It's going to be out of this world. Now, yes, there's going to be some challenges. Like I said, some of these players haven't played football or they haven't played at that level, so to speak, of a championship running high school team. So I'm excited to see it, but the communication is gonna be open 100%. I have an open door policy. My door will be open anytime on campus.
That's
Don't
good.
it's not, "Don't come to me." Go to your position coach first because he might have the answer. But, yeah, it's open.
Last thing I wanna ask you, um, and this kinda came up last night. I don't get on Twitter much, and I got on Twitter, and you know Nick Offenberger, right?
I do.
Yeah, I figured you do between
Oh,
the
yeah,
youth
very
game
well.
and now. So, for those that don't know, Nick is the head football coach at McClintock High School now. Um, but I saw where in the age of transfers, in the age of trying to poach kids, I saw that there was a non-AIA. It was a prep school, a new prep school or a new charter school out there in Arizona. I shouldn't say charter because most of them are in the AIA, but um, there's prep schools in Arizona that recruit, just
Right.
outwardly recruit. Even without those prep schools, I know when I was at McClintock, we had some studs, and whether it was through them going to private training and one of those coaches that were private training them was coaching somewhere else, or just friends, there were schools always trying to get our kids at McClintock, and these were bigger schools, right? Um, 6A, higher level 5A schools. And I felt like I was always fighting that. Now, we never lost a kid to one of those schools, but it was a constant year after year. And I saw Nick, I don't even know the name of the new prep school. It's supposed to be a traveling prep school. Went after their freshman quarterback who started last year and went after one of their coaches. And he said something. Mm, How do you keep, because I know, because we had a couple kids that were trying to decide between McClintock and North back when I was coaching in McClintock. And it was kind of 50-50. Half of them went to McClintock, half of them went to North. But I see both those programs as being comparable in regards to the type of young men that we got. And um, how do you keep kids at North? Because coach, it's gonna happen if it
Oh,
hasn't
it will.
already.
It was funny thing you bring that up. I've had kids reach out to me from other schools already wanting to transfer over, and I can't talk to them, right? Can't say anything. I can talk to them about academics, but I could never talk to them about the athletics, portion of school. But I've had kids reach out to me on Instagram, on Twitter, big time on Twitter, asking about the football program and how they can transfer over. Uh, Probably about 8 or 9 student athletes from other schools reaching out to me or going into high school. If they're not in high school, I can obviously talk to them 100%, the 8th graders coming in, but, uh, it's not, if they wanna go play somewhere else, I'm not gonna hold them to it, like, go play somewhere else. If you wanna play for your school in your community and what I'm gonna build here, then stay, because 'cause I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be magical. And if you don't like it after a year or you don't like it after 2 years or you like this coach better, go. I'm not gonna hold you to it because 'cause I'm gonna go out there. There's only 11 dudes allowed on the field at one time on each 10. And if I got 11, I'm playing with 11. But I'll tell you one thing right now, you're gonna fall in love with the coaching, with the community, and what's gonna happen to North High School.
That's awesome. That's the best way to approach it. Like I said, I had kids that, kind of the same thing. It's like, coach, I think I may transfer here, I may transfer there. And, we'd talk through it and, did have a couple kids transfer um, for whatever reason. And it was one of those things like ultimately, we're talking about high school football. And ultimately, I want what's best for you. I may not agree with it,
Right.
but I'm going to support you because I want what's best for you and I care about you as the kid. And that's the right approach. I mean, I remember when I first started recruiting and getting on the road when I was out in Missouri. I mean, you see a lot of negative recruiting at the college level, and I can only
Oh,
imagine what it is now. Well, I know what it is now just
I'm
because of the
going through it with my son right now.
right. And so the thing it if you can take that approach where you're going to be positive and you're going to keep it about your program, your staff, your players, your community, then you're going to get the right kids, and the kids that are going to stay are going to be those that are going to give you everything. So I think you hit it spot on. I mean, if we want to truly build something, we want the kids that want to be there. We don't
Right.
want the kid that's half in, half out. And Dick Baniszewski, you know Bano?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Bano, I called. We got our butts kicked at McClintock one year to Apollo. I mean, it was like 57-10 or something. And on the way back, I called Bano and I said, listen, man, I said, it's that 80-20 rule. We got like 80% of the kids are in, 20% are out. And he said, Corb, he said, no, he said, it's the 60-20-20 rule. And I said, what's the 60-20-20 rule? He said, 20% of the kids are all in, 20% of the kids are all out, and 60% are on the fence and can go either way. So you have to focus on those 60%. And that stuck with me and changed my mindset and my perspective, and to more of a listen, if you want to be here, we're going to make it great. But if you don't, let's talk and try and figure out a way that we can make you want to be here. But then if you still don't, okay, you do
Right.
what's best for you. So
Right.
any last comments or words of wisdom for myself and for the other coaches that are listening?
Listen, yeah, as a coach, you have to love it. You're not here for the money. I'll tell you that much, especially in high school. And at the next levels, yes, but you're not in it for the money. You have to love it. And like I said, when my father died when I was 5, my mother never remarried, and it was the coaches that made the biggest impact in my life. If I can give a quarter of what they gave me back to the community, I've done my job on this planet. And you have to be a servant first and an
Amen to
educator
that.
and an educator second. And I believe it. I'm a true believer in the man upstairs, and I try to base my coaching and my education and my words to these young men because of that. And that's the biggest thing. We're nothing compared to him upstairs, and I truly believe that. I believe that in my coaching style, in my play style, in my relationship building style, every single day of my life, and that's what I want to instill in these young men for the rest of their lives.
That's awesome. Well, God bless you, and I know you're
Thank you.
gonna do a wonderful job, and I'm honored that you took the time to come on, so thank you very much.
Thank you, coach, for having me. I appreciate you, and God bless you too.
Yeah, hey, hang on just for a quick sec, okay?
You bet.